Hey everyone, welcome back to another video of Tech and Talk. And if you are new to this channel, I extend you the very warm welcome to you. And I'm very excited to have you here to become the part of learning journey with the Tech and Talk. In this video, we're going to learn top 10 interview question on stored procedure. This video is not only the interview question, but in this video, I promise you, you will learn how to write a stored procedure step by step. I have given the banking example here, how that fund is transferred from one account to other account. So please be with me, don't skip this video till the end. Let's start with a very basic question. What is a stored procedure in SQL and why we need a stored procedure in SQL? What is a stored procedure in SQL? Stored procedure is nothing but a block of statement. And when you have to manage the business logic inside the database, then stored procedure is your choice. And stored procedure is a pre-compiled code. When you are going to create a procedure, that time only it will get compiled. When you are going to execute the stored procedure, that time we don't need to compile it again. And why we need a stored procedure? So once you have created the stored procedure, then we can use the same stored procedure at multiple places so that we can reuse the same stored procedure to provide the security. So stored procedure is very robust and we can provide the security to the business logic. And through that stored procedure, we can maintain the transaction like a begin transaction, rollback transaction, and the commit transaction. Also, stored procedure, we can use the stored procedure through the version control like a Git and SVN. What is the use case here for the stored procedure? Payment process and the email notification. Next question here is how to create a stored procedure and provide a real-time example. Here I am going to give you the one example here. So for the process payment, so whenever you are transferring the fund from one account to other account, that time how to write the stored procedure. Before going to start this video, what I will do, I will explain you the database first. So see here, I have created an organization database, and inside that organization, I have separated out account related table inside a account schema and HR related tables inside a HR schema. Okay, so for this video only we are going to use this account related table. So what are the tables I have created? See here, this is our parent table, and here we are storing the user and their username, because this user ID is very important from the transaction perspective, because we are going to write the process payment stored procedure. Okay, you can ignore this column for now because this is not useful for this video. Okay, now also what I have done, see here, I have created three more table: credit, debit, and account balance. Here when you are going to transfer amount, then it will credit it to other account, right? Then here in user ID we are going to store the user ID, and credit ID is a unique ID. You can consider this is a primary key, and how much you are going to transfer to that user, right? Then here it will come as a amount, and transaction date is also uh, here important because for the tracking purpose. Okay, same for debit ID, only here we are going to store the debit ID. This is also the primary key. And this table is very important because I have inserted few for 5 records. See, these are the user ID available for from the user table. And for now, what is the available balance? This is a, as of now, what is the current available balance? Because let's say when you are going to send 1,000 rupees from this amount to other user, right? Then this will be 9,000. Okay, and let's say if you are sending it to the user ID 2, then here it will be a 21,000. So this is, you can consider this account balance means it's a current, what is the current available balance. Okay, now we will start by writing the stored procedure. Okay, but before that I will promise you this video is not just only the top 10 interview question about the stored procedure, but I have arranged the question in such a way that you will going to learn how to write the stored procedure step by step. So don't skip this video till the end, because this is very important to understand all the points in order to write the complete stored procedure. Now what I will do, I will start writing the procedure. So what is the syntax for writing the procedure? Create procedure. Okay, what is the name of this procedure? I'm going to write for payment, process payment. Let me make it caps, process payment. Okay, here as keyword is very important, begin and end. Okay, so see guys, here the procedure name is process payment. Now inside this, what I will do, let me take this in new query. Okay, inside this, what I will do, I'm going to insert the record into the credit table, and also I'm going to insert some record from the debit table. Okay, so let me write here, insert into, what is the table name? Account dot credit. What are the column? See guys, here account dot credit. Credit ID is a primary key here, but while creating the table, I have declared it as a identity. So it will get auto incremented. So here we don't have to provide it. Okay. So what are the other here? User ID, comma, amount, and the transaction date. Okay. And values here. What I will pass here, values. Okay, values, user ID, let's say I'm giving hard code now. Amount, let's say I'm also giving hard code 1,000 rupees, and transaction date. For transaction date, we have a ready-made built-in function. Okay, so this is for insert into account credit. This is one. Okay, same. Now we're going to insert record in debit table also. For debit table also, it's the same structure, only we are going to store the debit ID here, and that debit ID is also auto increment. So we don't have to give it here. Okay. So same here. Okay. Now let me execute, let me execute this query. See guys, this procedure is created. Let me refresh here, stored procedure. Okay. See guys, here you can see this procedure is created. Okay. Okay, now we will see how to pass the input parameter to stored procedure. Okay, so this is very important. See guys, here you are going to transfer the fund from one account to other account. Okay, so when I am saying fund, so what are the important keywords here? Fund. Fund means money. Okay, and from one user ID to other user ID. Okay, so what are the here? What are the parameter? Let me declare here. So let's say I'm declaring it as from underscore user ID. It's a varchar and it's a 50. Okay, I will make it as an integer because our user ID is an integer. What is the other parameter? To underscore user ID. This is also integer. Okay, and third is amount. This is also integer. Okay, so by looking at this parameter guys, you will able to understand we're going to transfer the fund from user ID to user ID. Okay, so these three are my input parameter. Now we have declared the three input parameter but not used in the actual procedure. Now what I will do, I will pass the parameter here while crediting, and here in the while debit, I will pass here the two user ID. Okay. And previously also we have hard coded the amount. Okay. So that will also will pass it dynamically now. Here also the amount. Okay. Now this will store the credit and debit record. Okay. But this is not enough, right? Because we have a one more table, account balance. See here. So this, when you are going to credit and debit, that times this balance should also updated, right? Then what I will do here, I will write update. What is my table name? Account.balance. Okay. Here set what I have to update here, the amount, right? Set amount equals to, and what will be the logic here, guys? See here, let's say you are going to send a amount from one user ID to two user ID. And what is the amount you are going to send? 1,000 rupees. Okay, 1,000 rupees you are going to send from this ID. It means it will get debited here, right? It will, then it will be a minus. Okay, then what I will use, amount minus minus, and this will be my dynamic parameter. In where clause, what I will give, user ID, user ID, user ID equal to, this will be my from user ID. Okay, and now this is same for to user ID also. Okay, but this time when you are going to send the amount to other user, that time instead of minus, what it will come, it will come as a plus. Till this point, let me clarify you one more time. See guys, this both the table, credit and debit, both are used for the transaction purpose. Here, so here we are storing the credit related transaction, and here in the debit, we are going to store the debited transaction. Okay. And in the account balance, so this table you can consider, this is you storing the current balance of the user. Okay, so when you are going to credit the amount, it means that balance should be updated here also, correct? Also when you are going to debit, right, that time also this balance should be updated. So in both the times the balance should be updated. So in one account it will minus, and in one account it will plus, right? Because in one account it is credited, and at the same time it is going to debit from the other account, right? So till this point gets clear, right? So procedure is nothing but a block of statement. So these are the multiple block. Let's move on to the next question. How can we use user defined function inside a stored procedure? Okay, let's see now. Now here what we will do guys, the amount, right? Here this is an integer value. So user can pass any value here, right? So that amount should always be positive, correct? Am I making sense, right? Correct. So if the amount user is sending minus here, then this is not a good transaction, right? So maybe then this is not a valid transaction. So what I will do guys, I will write a user defined function which will check this amount should be positive. Okay, now let me create the function here, create function. What I will do, account dot check positive positive amount. Okay, this function, what I will pass parameter here, amount, and this will be integer. Okay, integer, what it will return, return, it will check valid or invalid, right? Then it will return a return bit value. So this is a scalar function guys, return bit. Okay, now begin begin and end here, here as begin end. Okay, now here what I will do, declare let's say I will declare here the one parameter positive, and this will be bit. And here what I will do, if here the amount should be positive, so I will take a this parameter should be greater than 0. Okay, if this amount is greater than 0, then what I will make here, I will set is positive equals to 1. In else part, what I will do, I will set is positive equal to 0. It means this amount is not positive. Okay. And finally, we will return back is positive. Okay. So is it making sense, right? Correct, guys. Let me execute this function now. Check positive amount. Okay. See, this function is created. Okay, let me refresh here the function. This is scalar valued function because it is returning a single value, correct? Now, see here, this function is created. Now let me test this function. How can I will test? Select. What is the function name here? Let's say I will pass here the integer value as a 50. Let me see the function. What is returning now? See, this is returning me the 1. 1 means it's a positive value. Let me test for minus 50. See, this is giving me the 0 now. It means this function is working. Okay, till this point it's clear, guys, right? So see, guys, here this function we have created, correct? So this is one kind of validation before inserting or updating the actual balance. And this is very important because if wrong record is updated, then it is very problematic, right? To identify. So always our stored procedure will be compatible to check everything. So that logic, everything, whatever you are going to write a logic. So that logic should be very accurate, correct? Because this is a payment related procedure. Okay. Now what I will do, I will paste here the select and I'm calling this function, and here what I will pass instead of, so here I will pass the amount as a dynamic, and here if it is 0 then it means it should not proceed, right? Correct, it should not proceed. So this is not a valid amount, so we will raise here, raise error. We have a raise error in SQL, and here what I will pass, amount must be positive. So it will return back amount must be positive. And here for this function, we will have to pass two more parameter. So here this is a severity. So severity 16 means user can update the uh, inputs and maybe he can try it again. Okay. And again here what I will write return. So this return will, what it will do, it will skip the further execution. So if the amount is not correct, then this will skip the further execution, correct? Okay. Okay, let me correct the syntax here. Here. Okay. This should be here. And I am making this raise error as a caps. Okay. This is correct now. Let's move on to the next question. How to handle exceptions in stored procedure. This is a very important question, and from the interview perspective as well as from writing the stored procedure. Okay, because exception is very important aspect in every situation. Before going to add a exception inside this procedure, let's try to understand first why we are adding the exceptions. Because let's say this is the block of statement, and let's say if something is failing inside this statement, then it should throw the exception, correct? Am I making sense? Correct? So what I will use for throwing the exception? So we will use the try catch block. Okay, let me add here the try catch block, begin try. Okay, and here after this block of code I will use in try, in try. Okay, and every try having a catch block, then here I will use begin catch, and I will use here end catch. And inside the try catch, let's say if something is failing inside this block, then I will use here the throw keyword to catch the exception. This is also okay, so this is for catching the exception. Let's move on to the next important question, how to use the SQL transactions in stored procedure. And we are aware what are the SQL transactions, right? So we know begin transaction, rollback transaction, and commit transaction. Okay, let's see now how can we use that. In this procedure, guys, before applying the transaction here, let's understand first why the SQL transaction is most important to use here, because here this is a payment related transaction, correct? Okay, let's say if this is, let's say if this statement is work, right? So you have credited some balance in to this statement. Okay, let's say this update is also work, correct? But now let's say this is failed. So this will not be the good, right? So in one table it will insert the one record, and even in one table only it will update the record. Okay, so whenever it is executing, so all should be completed. Okay, all should be successfully completed, then only it should insert the record. Otherwise it should not insert anything. So whatever they insert, that also should get rolled back, correct? Now, so what I will do here, I will begin the transaction. Begin tran. Okay, begin tran. Or you can write the begin transaction. Both you can write here. Okay, begin tran or begin transaction. And here, what I will do, see if everything is works smoothly, okay, then it means we can commit here the transaction. Let's say if any error come here, then it will catch here. Okay, and that time what I will do here, we will roll back to the previous state, rollback transaction. Because guys, here let's try to understand here, this is a banking transaction and we cannot directly insert a record any wrong data into the database, correct? So everything should be correct. So that is why here we are using the transaction, and transaction is very important. So begin transaction means we are initiating the transaction. Okay, commit transaction means everything is complete, we can make that record is permanent into the database, so we cannot undo that record once you committed the transaction. And rollback transaction means something is went wrong, so what I am doing, I will roll back to the previous state. So whatever, let's say one record is inserted, then I will undo that record, and whatever the records are in the previous state, that only I will keep, correct? So this is making sense, correct? Why we are using the transaction inside the procedure and why it is very important, correct? So till this point, guys, this procedure is looking good, right? So what I will do, I will execute. Okay, what I will do, I will execute alter procedure. Okay, this procedure, let me execute now. Okay, okay, now, so this is not a end of this procedure, guys, but I'll have to show some additional things. So that's why actually I executed the procedure. Let's move on to the next question. How to execute a stored procedure in SQL? Okay, here execute, it means how to run the procedure. Okay, let me step back to the table. Okay, see guys, here we are having a user table, account balance, credit and debit. So these four table we have used inside the procedure. See here, credit, debit, account balance, and user ID is for from the user table. That is why user ID. See here, this is from user table. Okay, so see guys, here what is the current balance for John to Bob? Consider here. Okay, I will write here only. John John is 1,000 rupees. He is having currently. Bob is having currently 20,000 rupees. Okay. Now let's say I have to run this procedure and I have to transfer the fund from John to Bob. Okay. Then how I will run this procedure? I will use the execute keyword here. Execute procedure name, and what are the parameters here? From user ID. Let's say I'm transferring the fund from John to Bob. That is why I'm taking the user ID as 1 here, to user ID. I'm transferring to the Bob here, and Bob user ID is 2, and and how much I'm transferring? The amount is 1,000 rupees, correct? amount is 1000 rupees. Okay, so see here guys, when I'm transferring from John, so John is currently having a 10,000. Okay, so it will be 1000 minus, so he will have current balance as a 9,000. And Bob, I'm transferring here, so it will have 20,000. Okay, 20,000 after the transfer completed. Okay, now see guys, I am executing this statement. See, we have four row affected here. Okay, let me go back and run the all the tables. See guys, here now, see, let me run only three tables here. Okay, see guys, this is only we have transfer here and the amount is 9,000, and after the transfer this is credited here, and that is why here the amount is 21,000. And see here inside the credit table also we're having the entries. Okay, so how much amount I have transferred, 1,000 rupees, and what is the transaction date. So in future also, if you have to see the transaction history, then you can refer this both the table. So okay, so let me execute this one more time guys. This time I'm transferring the 5,000 from 1 to 2. Okay, let me execute. See guys, here I'm getting the 5 row affected. Okay, but the problem here guys is we were not able to identify the amount is transfer or not, or any exception is occurred here, right? Correct. So how the, let's say if the this procedure is consumed on some UI, let's say in some web application, you are calling the, you have a connectivity and you are calling this procedure from some web application, but how can that application will get to know, right, that this procedure is giving me any error, or this procedure is completed, right? Okay, so this is the problem here, correct? So now let me move to the next question. And here the next question is, what is a out parameter in the stored procedure? And this is also the most asked interview question guys. And this is very tricky question. And please remember here how to write the out parameter and how it is useful in the stored procedure. Okay, let's see now. Let me go back to the procedure. So here in this procedure, what I will do guys, I will add one more parameter as a out parameter. Okay, let's say I will add here the status. So status, why I am adding status? So that you will able to identify the procedure is completed or not. Okay. So this is a output parameter, correct? And I'm making it as an integer. Okay. And by default here, I will set the first value as a 0. 0 means this is having some error. Okay. Now what I will do, let's say this block is completed. Then before commit the transaction, I will make this status as 1. 1 means this is successfully fine, right? So there is no issue. It's properly completed. And let's say if any exception occurred here, then what I will do, I will set the status as 0 again. Okay. Now this is, now let me execute the procedure. Okay, this process completed. Let me go back to the execute statement. Now this time what I will do, from user id 2 to 1, I will transfer the 5,000 back. Okay, before executing I will show you here. Let me execute this table. See what is the amount here, 4,000, and here 26,000. Okay, now we're sending from 2 to 1. So 2 to 1, and how much amount we are transferring. So here after the execution the amount should be 21,000, and here the amount should be 9,000. So guys, so if I'm executing this directly, then it will give me the error because we are not supplying this status parameter. Okay, now let me supply this parameter. Okay, so this is the output parameter. So what I will do, I will declare here, declare status as integer. Okay, and and here also what I will do, status equal to add status, and this is a output parameter. Okay, now what I will do here, select add status as a procedure output. Okay, See guys, now this is giving me the one. One means it is now at least we're getting some result right on the UI. So one means that web application should understand this procedure is successfully completed without any error. So try to understand here guys, the output parameter is very useful for the decision making. Decision making means why I am saying the decision making. Let's say you are having some UI. Okay, so let's say once you have successfully transferred, then maybe you are showing the pop-up, the amount is successfully transferred from this account to other account. Okay, so it's one. One means we can show this pop-up based on this parameter. So how on the UI we will identify by looking at this parameter. Okay, so let's say if it is zero, it means this amount is this transaction is failed. Okay, so if this output parameter is zero, then in that case we will show different pop-up, and on that pop-up we will say this transaction is not completed. Okay, this is having some issue. Okay, so this output parameter is very useful for decision making. Okay, this output parameter is making a sense now, right? Okay, now let's say here based on this output parameter we were able to understand what to show on the UI. Okay, now but let's say on this UI, let's say if the transaction is successful, then also in addition to that we'll have to show the updated balance of this user on this UI. Okay, then how you will proceed for that? Okay, let's see into the next question. Here is the next question is how can we call one stored procedure into other stored procedure? See here guys, let's say you have to see the balance. Okay, then what I will do, I will create a one more procedure. Okay, let me create procedure quickly. Create procedure, and what I will give the name here, get balance. Okay, here what I will do, I will pass the parameter as user ID at user ID. This is integer, and also I will declare one more parameter as balance. So this will be your integer again, and this will be your output parameter. Okay, now this is as begin end. Okay, so inside that I will write a simple query. Let me copy this. Select instead of star, what I will do, I will have to set balance equal to at, okay, here amount, and here where I'll have to see where user ID equal to add user ID. This is simple stored procedure. Here based on the user ID we will able to get the balance. Okay, to make this video faster guys, I have written here the execute statement for this get balance procedure. See here I have declared the user ID as a 1 and balance. Okay, and here balance is the output parameter. So here I will get the balance of the user 1. Okay, let me see in the actual table here. See guys, here for one user ID the amount is 9,000. It means it is showing me the correct result. Okay, let me check for, see for 2 it's showing 21,000. Let me check for 2. Okay, see guys, this is giving me the correct result. Okay, now what I will do, I will try to use this stored procedure inside the process payment. Let what I will do, I will add one more output parameter. Let's say I will add from user balance. This is also integer value, and I will set it here again, and this is also the again the output parameter. Okay, again I will set here the initial value as a from user balance as a 0. Okay, now what I will do, I will copy this, and after this commit transaction, because the transaction is completed, that time only we will call this procedure to show the get balance. if you are adding before the commit transaction, then this is not a good, because if any error occurred, then still it is showing the updated balance on the UI. Okay, so now instead of balance, what I will give, from user balance, here also I will give from user balance. Okay, and here this is user ID. User ID is nothing but my from user ID, correct? Even this is not needed, so what I will keep it simple. Okay, okay, now let me, okay, this procedure is completed successfully. Okay. Again guys, I have written the execute statement for this process payment method. Okay, so because to make this video faster, okay, now what I'm going to do, I am from user ID from 3 to 4. See here, from 3 to 4 I'm transferring the fund of 1000 rupees. Okay, now let me execute this complete block. See guys, here now see, after the transfer, I can see here the updated balance as a 29,000. Earlier it was 30,000. Okay, let me try one more time. See guys, here now from 29,000, see guys, now it is showing 28,000. This way guys, we can call the one procedure from the other procedure. See here, from process payment, we have consumed the get balance, and even it is showing the updated balance now. Okay, so it means we can consume and we can call the other procedure from one procedure. Before moving to the exercise question, so guys, till this point we have covered a few questions based on the stored procedure, okay, along with how to write the stored procedure. But this is not a complete package of the stored procedure. This is just a part one of the stored procedure. Okay, so I am going to upload the another video on part two, where I will explain you how to use the temporary table, how to use the global table, and along with a few tricky and tips question. Okay, so what is the question here for exercise? Can stored procedure have always a return parameter? Okay, this is also the very most asked interview question. So guys, but this time I am expecting you to answer. Okay, so whatever the answer is, right or wrong, but your try is very important here, so please do try. Thank you for watching this video. And guys, this is not the end of the stored procedure. This is just a part one. So I'm going to cover the part two, and I'm going to upload the video very soon. So just a small request guys, if you understand how to write the stored procedure along with the interview question, then please do subscribe, like and comment. Your thought and your comment is much appreciated. Please do support, and happy coding guys.